Yes, wow, this is immediate. Okay, so today I want to talk about resistance. Had a lot of resistance today to a lot of things, right? Which is interesting. Had kind of these phases, going through these phases. Had like 2, 3, 4 days where I was extremely motivated. I was working a lot. I was like really on fire. And then the last few days where like I was coming down, from that wave, and that it's a natural process, but a lot of resistance, feeling like I should be working more, feeling like I should be doing more. And of course, consistency is important, right? I want to talk about that as well. So that's kind of the topics. I've written down my topics here, but they're kind of gone. I'm gonna paste this in here again. Yeah, momentum, resistance, authenticity, vulnerability, why it matters to keep going, how to handle resistance, when you have resistance to doing something, how to handle that, how to deal with that, when to push through it. We started talking about that yesterday, right? And yeah, the power of authenticity, of vulnerability, that's extremely powerful, especially if we're used to meeting the expectations of others, right? So twisting our behavior in ways that other people like because we don't want to hurt them. Sometimes fair enough, that's good. Sometimes it's not so good for us because if we overdo that, we limit the possibilities that we have in our own behavior because we want to accommodate, right? That can be very painful, and it can lead to basically us creating a life and creating relationships that require us to be somebody else, someone we're not, right? I watched an interesting reel today that was about, if you're in a long-term relationship, marriage, the most important thing is that you can be fully yourself with that person, and you don't have to try really hard or be, fake something, adapt in some way. And I think there's some truth to that, right? That it's very powerful when we have people who just accept us the way we are. They're like, yeah, you're this way, you're that way. That's fine, I accept you. And that's very freeing. But what I think is, it's not only looking for those people, being like, yeah, where are those people? Where can I find them? Putting it on something on the outside, but saying, no, it's my responsibility to be as authentic as I can be with all the repercussions, with all the consequences that this has. Because oftentimes there's consequences, right? If you're agreeable, if you're really nice, you meet new people, you probably won't get as strong a reaction from people. They're gonna be like, yeah, he's nice, she's nice. But if you're really authentic, if you have like a weird sense of humor, like I don't know, maybe some people have a weird sense of humor. I don't know who that would be, right? But if you have a weird sense of humor, or if you like certain things, you like to talk a certain way, right? You have your weird hobbies, and you're not upfront with that. I mean, yeah, in a business context, maybe not throw it into people's face that you love, I don't know, some weird stuff. Whatever weird stuff you love, right? Please don't tell me about it. Just kidding. Oh, that's a nice decoration there. In the windows, you can see into the apartments. Very interesting. But so yeah, if in a business context, maybe keeping it a little mellow, but still, like, what's your energy? What energy do you like? If you're like on a call with somebody, do you suddenly feel the need to smile a lot and laugh a lot, or be like, have a certain energy? Because maybe you're more of a chill dude, like a chill gal, right? You're more relaxed. Or maybe you're really quirky, really energetic, and you love bringing that energy, but you're toning yourself down, right? So when we stop faking these things, it's a lot easier for us to show up, right? If you think you need to be another person in order to be social or to be with other people, that takes a lot of energy, and in the end, it's not really good, right? It's not fun. Okay, if you're on stage, you have to hold attention. It's like a performance. Yeah, maybe. But I think even then, the authenticity has kind of a magnetic quality to it, right? Because it's so authentic, people can feel that, right? And I think it's more important than pure energy in many cases. Like, authenticity is more powerful than just pure energy. But of course, pure energy has an effect on people. I'm not going to deny that. I know it from my own life. There's people that just have a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. I mean, I also like that. I like to have people like that around. It's a great energy. Thank you very much for letting me pass. But I feel authenticity is even more important. And for ourselves especially, right? And I'm not saying, yeah, if you're so chill, always stay chill. Don't change yourself, you know. No, sure, it's good to lean into your growth edge or try new things. Try to be a little bit different, approach life differently, change the side that you hold the camera on, right? Amazing. But yeah, that totally broke my flow. So being a little different, I think, is good. So that's why I'm saying don't necessarily, I'm not encouraging you to just stay the same. I'm like, some change is good, but overall, where's the space you feel comfortable with? What is your way of expressing yourself that you feel comfortable with? Where you're like, yeah, this is me. I feel good doing that. Maybe you experiment, but you come back to that because you know that's the way I like to be with people, right? I think there's a lot of value in that. And the other thing which I touched on before was you meet someone and let's say you're very authentic, then you're going to get stronger reactions usually. The sun, beautiful. You're going to get stronger reactions because you're showing more of yourself. And you're going to get those in both directions. You're going to get more positive reactions. Some people are going to be like, wow, I really dig you. This is super cool, right? And you can make friendships faster. Or the opposite. People are like, this weird, you're weird, I don't like you. And you're like, perfect, you know, and you move on and you meet other people, right? And I think it's a very effective way, a very straightforward way to approach socializing because one, it conserves your own energy because you're more in your own flow, right? And it helps you to connect with people who actually dig you. So you're not in some spiral of trying to prove yourself, trying to be a certain way, right? And I mean, to some extent, we can't turn that off. We all have this part in us that wants to be accepted. Let's be honest, right? And yeah, it's natural. I'd say let's embrace that. Today's advice, big advice live. I'm just saying let's keep it for me. I don't want to dish out the advice. And like for me, I like to accept that. I want to be loved. I want to be accepted. At the same time, it really matters that I can have my own energy. And I didn't used to in the past. I was a big subconscious adaptation machine, let's call it, trying to make my parents happy so they're basically emotionally feeling good, you know, not hitting any hard edges there, keeping everything safe around me. And I started doing that with people. And in the process of doing that, I forgot or I didn't have the opportunity to develop what I actually liked. So then you're talking to someone and you're like, I don't know, what is my personality like, right? So I say in my experience, giving that more space and taking ownership of that and being like, yes, this is my personality, you know, that's who I am, right? And then you get reactions from people and some will love it, some will hate it, some will be indifferent to that. But it's a great way to approach socializing, I think. And it's more fun, right? And in the end, it's more colorful because if we have people around that are being authentic, that are expressing themselves, that are being creative, that are bringing something into the world, that's more colorful than people who are trying to adapt, people who are trying to accommodate, right? It's a dull world. It's black and white, and we want to have it more colorful, right? I like that. Colorful, not the rainbow parade, what was it? The pride parade, you know, still haunting me. Yeah, there's a car here now. Yeah, probably gonna cut this tree down, which I spoke about, which attacked me twice now. Today not. Intimidated, probably now. Yeah. So that's the one thing I wanted to talk about. Then the other thing with the expectations, let's say you're shooting a video, right? I'm going on my live and in my mind I'm like, yeah, I don't have the energy. Last 2 days I was like kind of jazzed up on energy. I was like super like energetic, for lack of a word that is not the same word that I used before. but today not so much. I wasn't feeling energetic. I was like, ugh. I feel like what do you call it? The skin of a potato. You know, you eat it, the potato, the inside, and the skin is still there. And I was like feeling like that leftover skin of the potato today. But then I thought, what's the point of communicating, trying to fit some ideal? Like, why not just go in the way I am, right? And I've really been doing that a lot over the last few years. And that has been great for me because, like I said, it's so much easier. And it's by making myself vulnerable, making myself just authentically me, I give other people the opportunity to see that and be like, hey, I also feel like a leftover potato skin today, It's part of the process. Some days are like that. I don't have to be perfect, And I think that's a good thing. That's a positive, amazing. 2 people are watching. Please don't go away. I really need the attention. Let me show you some beautiful pictures. There's a dog walking, entertainment for you today. So if you're also feeling like a leftover potato skin, like I said, listening to someone talk about that, being like, yeah, I'm not perfect, not having the perfect day, then you're like, yeah, you don't feel so much pressure. And we often make ourselves, at least me, I make myself a lot of pressure. I need to work more, need to achieve more results. Then I socialize. Everyone needs to like me. I don't need to be super energetic, everything. And maybe on some days we are, right? And on some days we're not, but we're still enough, right? That's the message behind it, basically. Very cliche, but it's very true. Then the other thing I wanted to talk about is the car gonna stop? Yes, it is. Thank you. I wasn't sure. Just gonna risk that. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was kind of the resistance. And then also if we have resistance, where is it okay to kind of give in to that? Be like, maybe that resistance is telling me I need to take a break, right? On some days. And it's not a good thing to move past that, to push, right? Push, still work. On other days, maybe it's necessary sometimes, right? There are those days or times in our life, right? There's a sprint, there's external deadlines, I know. But also the loving kind of being strict with ourselves. I've talked a little bit about meditation, picking up meditation again, twice a day, 30 minutes, just to clear my mind. I feel I need more space in my life, right? Like nature, space, not so much stimulation, not so easy. Like I know the social media is very stimulating, phone is very stimulating. We get all the dopamine, we know it, we've heard about it, yeah. But we still often engage in that, at least me. I'm like, where's the next notification? Hunting the apps, is there a notification in this app? Because I turned the notifications off and I'm like, let's look into the app, straight into the app. I don't know if that's better, right? I need to put up a curfew for my social media use because it really hijacks the brain. My brain is like, nah. So bringing back the meditation, right? And especially one thing I noticed, I mentioned it yesterday, is there's a I experience resistance to stillness, resistance to the lack of inputs, right? Lack of stimulation. And even like a pain, if you're really engaged with something, a lot of stuff is happening, you're like, woo, the brain is all fired up. And then you go into the nothingness. Maybe some people, for them it's easy. For me, not. I want to stay in that stimulated space because it feels good in the moment, right? But there's a few issues with that because the one thing I really like, I think it's a Dan Coe quote. He talked about if you need ideas, basically you read, but the reading is like the nourishment, right? And then at some point you need to create, because if you don't create, it's like you're stuffing yourself and you're not using that energy to do something, whatever that creation means, right? Whatever creative endeavor you're following, but like writing, sharing your ideas, building something, right? And I think the balance there is hugely important for me, right? And maybe for you as well, if you're an if you're also a creator, whatever you're doing, maybe you have another hobby that you like to engage in. some creative outlet. I used to love painting with watercolors, right? And just abstract. I'm not doing like these amazing landscape paintings, although that would be cool, but I don't know how to do that. But just abstractly mixing those colors and expressing my emotions, just going with the flow. That was really good for me also, kind of therapeutic, right? Drawing, yeah. But in regards, coming back to the discipline, or like being a little strict with ourselves, I feel for me it's important to be strict with a few things like sleep, exercise, meditation, work, of course. Like creative work even is important for me, that I give some space to that in my life, right? And I'm always torn between how much rigidity do I want in my schedule, how much do I want to have free flow there, and like I hit times where I'm like very structured and then I feel like so dead inside. I'm like, I'm a slave to my structure. What's the point of being able to decide when I work, when I feel like I'm in a cage, right? And at other times I'm on the opposite side, not structured enough, and I feel like time is slipping away. I'm not handling my priorities. That was like that the last few days, right? And I feel like, no, I need to take a step back. Also discipline, move into the silence, the journaling, whatever helps you. For me, it's meditation, going on walks, journaling, getting back to like a better perspective on things, like what happened the last 2 weeks, where am I going, which things that I'm doing are working, right? And you can't do that if you're like, yes, we finished half of my journey here. This is there's the Danube back there. If you go there, that's my usual kind of route that I'm on. And yeah, being like, I need to the discipline to go and take this step back, to be like, yeah, what did I do? Is it working? Is it not working? And I have resistance to that, because oftentimes I want to stay in the doing. But if I always keep doing and take things in, consume inputs, there is no mental space for reflection. Oh no. Someone crashed with their bike, but it's not that extreme, I think. They got up again. The stones here, it's very slippery. So I'm like, if there is always input, there is no space for reflection, right? And there is no space for output either, because you can't consume and create at the same time. It's a different energy, right? And yeah, there's balance. You gotta have some balance with that. So that's an invitation. Maybe if you resonate with that, feel free to reflect on that. Maybe there's something in there for you. And yeah, that was the gist of my rant today. Wasn't feeling like doing it. Then I thought, no, let's just be authentic. Let's just go in as I am right now, because that's the only place you can start, right? We can't start as another person or at another spot in our journey. We can just start where we are and to say, yes, the journey of 1,000 miles, it starts with the first step, but it's true. And we can only take the first step where we are with what we have, and make the best of that. And yeah, I think I want to leave you with that. Thank you so much for listening. It's a short one today. Enjoy the rest of your day. See what you want to do with that, what you want to create with that. Sending you lots of love, and thank you for listening. Take care.